Why, hello, YouTube. Today I'm here to talk about GMO, and it's quite frankly sad reputation. Um, GMO is a good thing. Okay, I know it can sound scary. Oh, genetically modified plants, but it's not what most people think. Like the majority of the reason we modify plants is to make it so it, not only produces more, but it's more resistant against pests, and farmers don't lose more of their crops. You know, we've been eating genetically modified plants for decades now, and nothing bad has come of it. Nothing bad has happened because of it. Like, you know, we've already been tailoring our food for generations since we've been on this planet, since we started agriculture. Like, nothing you buy in the supermarket, genetically modified or not, existed 10,000 years ago, or even 5,000 years ago. Because, through selective breeding, you get these really nice plants that are, just a little bit better, just a little bit better, just a little bit better, until they're not even remotely recognizable from the original plant. Like, corn used to be like these little tiny little kernels on the one like a fucking pea, like little peas on like a weed. That used to be corn. Carrots used to be like this little tiny shriveled up brown root that like almost like a really tiny piece of ginger. And like tomatoes, those big ass tomatoes used to be the size of today's peas. And that's not from genetic engineering. That's from just choosing which I guess technically is genetic engineering. It's genetic selection, you know? And like, here, let me pull up some statistics. So, currently, all of our, genetic modifications, for like 80% of them are just for pesticide use. The rest of them are like to use a little bit less water, which is a really good thing, or to use up less space and produce, the same amount or more of, the food. So, in that respect, all it is just less costly for the farmer, and you get more food. So that means food prices go down, and there's more food to go around. It's much better for the economy. It's an economic boom, okay? And pesticides resemble a huge cost in resources, on our environment, and even on our health. Okay, pesticides are bad. But farms without pesticides struggle a lot. And especially in the US, we use way too much pesticides. And, you know, because of that, our we have a much higher rate of cancer, um, and just comparatively to any other country, and so the we in genetic engineering we have developed a way so that the plant produces enzymes that dissolve the digestive organs of insects. Okay? And our digestive organs are much different than that of insects. Much different. Okay? We know exactly what these enzymes are going to do, and there's a lot that goes into making sure that these are safe, and that each and every single product is checked. Um, And, if you have eaten in the last 20 years, and you're in America or even Europe, probably the majority of what you've eaten came from a genetically engineered plant. And you're fine. In fact, you're more healthy than you would have been. And here's a great example of how this is such an economic success. In 2012, Bangladesh faced a massive economic and food security crisis. For decades, um, they have been fighting against insects that devastated their crops. And for Bangladesh, uh, their agricultural sector made up a huge portion of the economy, up to 40% of the entire workforce and 13% of the entire national GDP came from uh, this in agricultural industry. And their most consumed or third most consumed vegetable was the eggplant. And because of the just onslaught of insects that ravaged their agricultural sector, the majority of it was like you know every day, just like it was normal for uh you to lose 70 to 80% of every single harvest to insect attacks. 80 to 70% of every fucking harvest. That's a big deal. And you know, they had to spray so much pesticides on this stuff just to get 20% of their crops. And they even used many pesticides that were banned from the UN because they're dangerous. And if unless you have to use them, you shouldn't. And yeah, these pests raged over these poor nations like wildfire. And yeah, all over like places like Indonesia, Bangladesh, Philippines, South Asia, and South America, and all over the place. And you know, these insects, not only is these pesticides bad for us, um, and not effective enough and bad and costly for the environment and from their pockets, but these like they killed thousands of farmers just because of over the use of pesticides. And not only that, these insects were adapting to our pesticides, just like when we have, diseases adapting to our medication, or how cancer adapts to the immune system. It's adapting to what we use against it. So that has implications for not just Bangladesh, that has implications for the rest of the world. That if these insects, through natural selection, which is what we're doing here, everything is natural selection, everything, economics, biology, everything. If it's a little bit better at surviving, more of it will happen. So these insects are getting better at, you know, surviving these harmful chemicals and producing their own enzymes to counteract it. But what we've done is we introduced a genetically modified eggplant that was completely immune to these swarms of pests. Farmers hardly ever needed to use pesticides, and they hardly ever needed, like, lost their harvests. In just 3 years after the introduction of this plant, net returns skyrocketed by a factor of 6, from like $357 per hectare to $2,150 per hectare. This was a 51% increase in crop yields and 128% increase in net returns for farmers, and a 37% reduction in pesticides costs, and an 11.5% decrease in reports of pesticide poisonings. Huge success. Absolutely huge success. It boosted the entire economy and made it so that more people weren't going to starve. That is what we're doing with GMO. So these people who are anti-GMO activists, it's not just an America thing. Sadly, a lot of countries, because it's a new thing, and genetically modified, that sounds scary. It really does. I understand that. But it's a good thing. And not only is it a huge boon for agriculture and food security worldwide, but this can be so good for so many other parts of our society, which I will probably talk in the next video, because there's bugs out here. Speak of the devil. But also another good example of this, like in Hawaii, the Hawaiian papaya, which is a plant that is native to Hawaii and is grown nowhere else, and it's a huge part of the Hawaiian industry. Yeah, they were going to go extinct by, what was it, 2015? Yeah, or that might be wrong, but they were going to go extinct because of this new virus that was going to wipe out this unique plant and an entire industry. And the only way to save it was to make a genetically modified papaya that was immune to this virus. And it worked, and now it's in far better than it's ever been. And literally, in an American supermarket, 90% of all the food you buy is GMO, and you're fine. Like, even the meat you eat, all of those animals eat GMO crops. All of them. It is completely safe and healthy and has been for decades. And it makes food cheaper, and it makes it so there's more food to go around for everyone, and it makes every single aspect of any economy better. So banning GMOs is shooting yourself in the foot. And there is so much more we can do with it, but I will talk about that in another video. But yeah, anti-GMO people really piss me off, because you're just an idiot. You don't, I mean that in the nicest way possible. Like, you just don't understand. You think, oh, genetically modified, that's a little creepy, and you just roll with that. You don't actually research what the implications are, and what are we doing with it, and what are we genetically modifying it for. Like, people who are anti-GMO don't even know why they're afraid of it. They're just afraid, oh, they're manipulating the food I want, or oh, it's not natural, or oh, it must be worse in some way, but they never actually give a reason why. And many, many cultures, are starting to actually break under that pressure of a populace who doesn't understand science and doesn't understand what we're doing. Like India, who could really, really benefit from this. They banned it. And in Europe, they banned growing it, but they still import it, and still like 50% of what you buy there is GMO, and they don't, or actually I think it's higher than that, but you can't grow it for some reason, so they just have to import it from us in the US, where we actually grow it, and I hope to God that doesn't change, like, well, I hope they start growing it, but I hope we don't stop growing it, because it is making the world a better place. It is making food safer. It is making everyone healthier. It is saving lives and making it so people don't starve, and that food is more cheap, and that all of our pockets are a little bit better because we started making GMO crops. And especially in a time where we're facing a climate crisis, and the biggest issue when it comes to climate change is the fact that suddenly our crops can't grow anymore. When that's the issue, thank God. Thank God for genetic engineering. Holy shit. Without genetic engineering, I don't think we would be able to survive this next century. It is our way out. And we need to start being activists for GMO, not against it. How long is this video? Oh, 17 minutes. Okay. That's good. It's not as long as I usually make them. Alright. Thanks for being here, and leave a like if you think people should see this.